I'd like to welcome to the stage Mindy, CEO and President of Ceres, representing the We Mean Business Coalition, and Per Heggenes, CEO of the IKEA Foundation, to join me. Sit down now. So 5 years ago today, on the opening ceremony stage, we launched the We Mean Business Coalition and we launched the RE100 initiative. So Mindy, as another member of the coalition, what have we achieved together as We Mean Business in this time?
I think we could look at it in certain categories. NGOs are known to not always work brilliantly together. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. We formed a partnership with the partnership of the IKEA Foundation that works. Rather than 7 organizations going into multiple different directions on what to do and what companies ought to do, we found a way, and IKEA was an important part of that, to work together, and with that is getting us results. Nobody thought 5 years ago when we came together that we would be working with 89 companies as a start to get to science-based target commitments, or at least a 1.5 degree commitment, which of course are quite similar, if not the same. Another 1,000 companies that we're working with, literally 1,000, that we're working who are setting RE100, renewable energy goals. Think about Unilever, think about Apple. The number of companies committing to that would never have been thought of 5 years ago. Paris, another example besides that. When we were in Paris, and We Mean Business was relatively new, but negotiators were coming out and saying to us, different country negotiators needed to hear from business and investors. And we were running around Le Bourget, as I think it was called, in Paris, trying to find the right business leaders who we all brought to that Paris negotiating session, to be there in the background and to call on negotiators to act. So we're not only seeing businesses act, and whether it's IKEA, whether it's Apple, whether it's Maersk, a major shipping company, whether it's electric utility companies, they're acting in a different way. We've laid out a package which is about set goals and make sure those goals are transparent. Involve stakeholders in designing those goals. Boards of directors of corporations need to be involved in setting those goals, and CEOs' compensation needs to be tied to it. And we need better transparency, we need clear goals, we need a consistent position on policy, and we need action from the private sector, and that's what we're seeing. We're not the only ones doing it. It existed before we came together, but I would argue it was turbocharged in a way we could not have imagined, working with almost everybody in this room, I imagine, to make sure that it is much a corporate mission and a capital markets leaders mission. So it's not companies only, it's companies and investors who see climate as the future of the economy. Acting on it will create a future, not acting on it won't. And of course, it is about the future of our world. So the role of companies couldn't be more important. Doing it effectively, efficiently, in partnership with IKEA and our other NGO partners has been a wonderful opportunity.
Thank you. And Per, obviously the IKEA Foundation placed a big bet on the We Mean Business Foundation when you came in with your big support for us. How do you think that's paying off?
It was a big bet. It was a big bet on a presidential collaboration, actually. And when we did this as a foundation 5 years ago, we didn't really have a lot of climate expertise on board. So we had to make a big bet on individuals, on people, and on the fact that if 7 leading climate organizations would work together, they will be able to achieve more together in the lead up to Paris. And we would be able to come out of Paris with a better agreement than otherwise would have been the case. And I think that worked for us. I think we had an impact on that. I think the investments was unprecedented because of the money, because of the way we did it. But the results of it is fantastic. And when we hear today, when based on the fact that 70% of all greenhouse gas emissions come from corporations, we knew that business had to be part of it. And we believe very strongly, being a foundation that, of course, is linked to a business, that business has to play an important role in taking us to where we need to be in curbing climate change. So it's very exciting for me to see that more than 1,000 CEOs have actually treated this not as a box-ticking exercise of sustainability and climate, but actually getting in there, looking at their own business, setting science-based targets, signing up to RE100 or the EV 100, and actually being actively involved, not only in doing it themselves for their own business, but being vocal about it so that more businesses will come along and we will reach the tipping point, if there is a tipping point, which I hope it is.
So we've been looking back 5 years. This morning we've been talking about looking forward 5, 10 years. A lot of progress, we said, is underway, but what else do we need to see particularly from business and policymakers?
So let's start with business. Talking to 1,000 is great, but we've got 100,000 more to talk to. And that's hard. Even with all of us in this room, we probably can't reach that next 1,000 below the Russell 1,000 largest companies. So what we need is policy. And I will suggest, and I think we have seen it in our collaboration, that business and financial leaders are one of the most important voices in the policy debate. When we're up on Capitol Hill with leaders from IKEA, from Unilever, from Lloyd's of London, from insurance companies, and talking about a price on carbon, it's a voice people don't expect, and it is a voice that is making a difference as it did in Paris. So I would say one clear thing as we take climate out of some sustainability box and put it into the core work of companies, it needs to be fully integrated. As I said, at the board level, there need to be specific goals. Those goals need to be accountable. But we need support at the policy level as well by corporate leaders. And that's federal, it's state, it's other countries. It is the voice and the message that's going to make a difference. And I will say, for companies that are talking about being a sustainability leader and even acting in some way on sustainability, but in the end supporting policies that are about rolling back CAFE standards or rolling back the Clean Air Act in the United States or rolling back any of the hard-fought methane regulations and others. That inconsistency is no longer okay going forward. We need complete consistency. Policy leadership is essential. And I think with that, we've got a choice to really live up to our dream as we lean in to get there.
Thank you. And what do we need to see from philanthropists?
Well, philanthropy is about improving human welfare, isn't it? And removing the barriers that prevent people from leading a successful, meaningful life. What I see today is an example of how collaboration has taken us farther. And I am very happy to see that there are new donors coming into the Women Business Coalition now, the Children's Investment Fund, the Hewlett Foundation, and we can expand the collaboration. But I think we can only get where we need to get by unprecedented collaboration between government, between individuals, between foundations, and in the UN. Everyone has to be part of it because we have so little time left to fix the problem.
Thank you. And thank you both for all your work and commitment over the last 5 years.
Great. Onward.